One of the best and the most affordable electric cars has returned to the market. And my friends, this is fantastic news. Hello and welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. I'm coming to you here from Melbourne, Australia. Welcome to all you new subscribers. Welcome back to everyone else. Great to have you. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. Really appreciate what you do for the channel. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to jump on and support us as well. You can. So, Volkswagen has brought back really what is one of the most iconic electric cars, which very few people have been talking about, but there's a lot of people who have been waiting for this vehicle to come back to the market. So the question is, why on earth did they remove this car from the market in the first place? Well, I'm going to tell you what I think. Now, Volkswagen puzzled everyone when it pulled the plug-in electric e-up in 2020, despite the fact that sales of the electric city car were going really well, and an increasing number of European governments started to introduce electric vehicle incentives. Now, at the time, the German media reported that the e-up was not designed for high volumes, and selling it with discounts was not profitable. Key issue here, profitability. Rumour had it that Volkswagen lost £4,000 to £5,000 on every e-up and e-golf it sold. Those are massive losses, and they seem to be confirmed, in my view, by simply comments coming from Volkswagen CEO Herbert Diess, who has said that basically it takes them 30 hours to build an EV. It takes Tesla around about 10. I know there's going to be some of you going to hate hearing that, but that's what he said. So I'm just repeating what he said. And he's also said that Volkswagen doesn't build EVs affordably. That's just something they hadn't worked out at that period in time. Now, I think they will work this out over the coming years for sure. But another issue is I made a video about the fact that Tesla pays around 30% less for its battery cells than Volkswagen did at the time that I recorded that video around about 6 months ago. I'll put a link in the description below to that video. But I think Volkswagen now is starting to reduce its costs with its EVs. Starting to work things out a little bit better, which is good to see. Now, it looks like they have changed their mind now that cheap EVs like the Dacia Spring are in big demand across Europe. I think Volkswagen recognizes the fact that they can make a profit from EVs if they do things smartly. Now, Volkswagen has decided to bring back the e-up to plug in the gap until the 2025 launch, I mean that's still 3 years away, of its production ID Life model, Germany's IT news website Golem reports. Now, the ID Life will be kind of a similar vehicle to this, but an updated, modernized, more cost-efficient version. Now, the e-up is likely to be relaunched in mid-February according to the same source, say Inside EVs. Now, the report includes this statement from Volkswagen themselves. We had temporarily taken the e-up off the market in 2020 because delivery times had risen dramatically due to high demand. Now it has been decided to reintroduce the e-up into the order program. We will offer the e-up in a slightly modified offer structure. Now, I don't think they're telling the truth here. That's not the reason why they stopped selling it. That, to me, is PR nonsense. I think it's better to just tell the truth. That's just me. But anyway, as you guys know, this is not me criticizing Volkswagen. Well, it is, but I do like the company. You've probably seen lots of videos I've made. I'm not just saying, Volkswagen, I hate you. I actually like the company for sure. My dad owns one of their pickup trucks, and I've driven that a bit, and I'm a big fan of it. The Amarok, by the way, that's what it is. Now, according to another report from Automobile Watchy, I don't know what they're called, some German media publication, the first Volkswagen dealers are already putting up lists for prospective buyers of the e-up. However, Volkswagen hasn't made an official announcement yet, and the e-up is not yet shown on the automaker's website. That said, electric car rental company Nextmove already announced that the e-up will make a comeback in the Style Plus, offering a range of roughly 250 kilometers or 155 miles. Now, apparently, owners are saying that the range of these cars is longer than Volkswagen advertises. So if that's true, that's pretty cool. Apparently, this car will cost 26,500 euros or around about 30,000 US dollars. Now, that estimated price, though, is before incentives. In Germany, the current government scheme would reduce the price to around 17,000 euros or 19,300 US dollars. So that's a massive 10,000 US dollars off the cost of this car. Now, what's the key here? Well, the key is Volkswagen have reintroduced this car at a higher price. It's around about 3,000 euros more, around about nearly 4,000 US dollars more expensive to buy. But of course, the incentives make that price come down to a reasonable level. But I've got to say, for a car this size with this level of range, if you compare this to, say, Chinese competitors, it is quite expensive. It's around about 30 to 40% more expensive than similar cars in China. But clearly, Volkswagen is not building these cars in China. They're building these in Europe, and their costs are much higher than costs for Chinese automakers. But Volkswagen, what have they done? They've said, okay, we're losing money on this car. Let's stop selling it because we don't want to keep losing money. It doesn't make sense to do that. We do that with Bugatti, but we don't want to do this with our smallest vehicle we sell. So they brought the car back at a higher price, probably been able to reduce some of the costs in certain places to enable them to make a profit now on the car. Now, to prove that Tesla fans are not the only fans who are hardcore fans, I wanted to share with you some of the comments that I've seen online, which are extremely effusive, extremely positive, and it shows you there's quite a lot of Volkswagen fanboys out there. Don't get me wrong, I don't see anything wrong with being a fanboy. If you love Volkswagen, that's fine. It's better than loving Toyota. Anyway, that's for sure. Anyway, Michael said this: I have one of these. They're amazing. The range is the opposite of most cars, as it goes above the official figures every time. Acceleration is ridiculous. It's very quick off the line because it's so light. It has no buffer in the power delivery. It gives you 100% of the horsepower and torque. Most EVs are slow to start and then they unleash the full power. Well, yeah, as you can see, there's a few bits of misinformation there. Most EVs are not slow to start. I've driven a few. Yeah, sorry, Michael, that's not really true. But don't get me wrong, it's great that you love your electric car, and you should. Electric cars are so much better than ICE vehicles. Honestly, I think once you've driven an electric car, you're never going to go back to an ICE vehicle and say, oh, this BMW 3 Series, this Mercedes S-Class, this Mercedes C-Class, this, Audi A8, it's luxury. I honestly think part of the luxury experience is the driving experience. And if you're going to tell me that driving a legacy automobile with an 8-speed or 6-speed or 10-speed gearbox, which is powered by a petrol, gas, diesel engine, is luxurious, then I think you've just got no idea what you're talking about, or you simply haven't experienced a good electric car. Now, some people are saying that Volkswagen actually never stopped making the Volkswagen e-up. They just weren't taking new orders because their order book was too big. They have a backlog and couldn't have made more if they wanted to. Well, no, sorry, that isn't true. Couldn't have made more if they wanted to. Really? I don't think so. I think they couldn't have made more if they wanted to because they didn't want to, because they weren't making a profit on the car. But obviously increasing the price has enabled them to actually make a profit. Now, in addition to that, there were approximately 60,000 of these cars sold in 2021, and they were selling well. But the company, of course, Volkswagen, were backlogged, and they weren't expanding build capacity because they weren't making a profit, so it didn't make sense to do so. Now, one of the comments I've seen getting around is that the articles ad nauseum on the fictional $25,000 Tesla are getting old in light of a perfectly fine Volkswagen that sells one already in Europe. Well, criticizing Tesla, or people making videos about a $25,000 Tesla, saying we already have a Volkswagen e-up, which basically wasn't for sale last year. If you order one, there's a pretty long backlog, isn't really a reasonable comment to make. In addition to that, I believe the $25,000 Tesla vehicle will be a fair bit bigger than a very small Volkswagen e-up. Now remember, a Volkswagen e-up is only a little bit bigger than a K car in China, which are around about 3 meters long. They're only a little bit bigger, marginally, but it does cost about 4 times more. So whether or not you consider that good value is, well, it's up to you, the buyer. I'm not going to say either way. You're going to make your own mind up on that. But I think, honestly, within a few years, we're going to see cars like the Volkswagen e-up at prices that are probably 50% lower than the e-up is now, and potentially with even better range. On that note, thanks for watching the channel, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.